to see everyone this morning. I've got church here in a little bit, so I figured I'd come live and just chit chat about some of the stuff that we've been going over for the last few days. And before we get started, good morning, everyone. It's nice to see you. You guys are up bright and early on a Sunday morning. Hey. So we're discussing Sebastian Rogers, but before we get into that topic, I don't know if you guys, have been following the Gilgo Beach serial unaliver. I don't know. Don't want to get air on TikTok, right? So we'll call him a serial unaliver. They started going back to his house. I thought when the search warrant was executed, I naturally thought they were going to be inside his home for a day. A day, getting additional evidence. Guys, they have been pulling crap out of that house for days. I think yesterday was like day 5 of like the searches. I don't think they're doing them today. I think I'm about to sneeze, so please forgive me if I sneeze on camera. I can feel it coming. Anyways, so I'm just curious, because there were so many other people found on that stretch of beach, but they were in different, like majorly different states, right? It was so different that it led many to believe that there was multiple different serial unalivers that were, disposing of things out there on the beach. But they've been in his house for, hey, good morning. Good morning. I see you, little butterfly. But they went in there, and I keep wondering, are they trying to solidify the 4 that they've already arrested him on? Or is he linked to other ones? Because I've never believed that he just stopped. Like, I believe he found a new, but we've never heard of any other new place or any other new people that are connected to him other than these Gilgo 4. So anyways, it's just a little tangent. I just wanted to kind of give you guys an update on that. I don't know what's going on with Rex Heuermann. His wife and children weren't home when they executed the warrant. But again, I was expecting it a day, maybe 2, but 5 days. And I don't even think they're wrapped up yet. And they've been taking out stuff and taking out stuff and taking out stuff. I keep wondering, did he say something through his attorney that made them dive in a little deeper? Or was there a phone call with his wife that gave them a clue? I mean, what did they hear, or what probable cause did they have to execute yet another search warrant? So there you have it. Don't really know, much more than that. So we're going to get on to Sebastian Rogers. Sebastian Rogers is a 15-year-old autistic boy that disappeared from his home in Hendersonville, Tennessee. And of course, his mom and stepfather have been making the rounds on social media in a self-preservation attempt. They're going on panels. They're talking about stuff that makes absolutely no sense. They're not really talking about Sebastian. They're not really talking about his case. They're talking about food and drinks, and she's laughing and giggling, when she doesn't know where her son is 3 months into a major investigation and her son missing. I'm hearing another person, I was listening to another person going in and saying, he's been, not stepping away from the case, but this, that, and the other. And, I saw another creator saying, should they stay in the case? Honestly, when I see polls like that, I always say no, you shouldn't, right? Because if you have to ask that question, in my opinion, then you're in the case for the wrong reasons. Just my personal opinion and why I vote the way I vote when I see stuff like that. I think it's childish. I think it's stupid. You're either here for a child or you're not. You're here for a victim or you're not. You're here to find out the truth or you're not. This is the true crime genre. It's about the victims and the bad guys. And I think some people lose that focus for whatever reason. We've been talking about whether or not Sebastian walked out of the home. But I wanted to keep going through this bed crime stories because I feel like bed crimes, yes, the case is a mess. The case is a mess. But, in all fairness, a lot of this mess is created by social media in this case, without a doubt. I mean, I'm here, and I'm honestly saying that because what I've watched was just like, I feel like I'm in shock. Like I can't believe what I actually saw take place here. And I'm just, I don't know. I guess I'm really still in shock by all of it, by it. Just, I don't want to bash people because I just don't want the drama. There's no point. I have decided my channel will never be that. And so our channel is just going to stay focused. I have a clear understanding of where we want to go, what we need to be doing. And it's not that. I'm not drama. I don't like it. It stresses me out. It gives me anxiety. I prefer talking about cases and talking about bad guys, and that's where the focus of this channel will always be. So getting back to Bed Crime Stories, which is on YouTube, and she has a pretty decent following, about 38,000 people on YouTube, and I actually like her. Her voice is very soothing to me, I have to be honest, when I hear her talking. And she breaks it down. And so I like this. So we're going to go through some of it and we're going to stop it and talk about it. But I rewinded it back enough so you guys can hear some of her commentary. And I want you to hear her commentary. There's a reason. And the reason why I want you to hear her commentary is because I agree 100% with what she's saying. And so I can't seem to say it better than she does. So why not just, instead of, Why fix recreate a wheel? Whatever, you guys get my drift, right? So.
He was really into it with me, so every day we'd go and we'd make our little water talks and we'd do different recipes. We got a whole water bar set up and he'd help me pick out flavors. And it's actually astonishing that they can talk about carbonated beverages for such a long time. It's like, can we address the elephant in the room? Your son is missing. Let's talk about that. He would make his own waters.
Does anybody find it odd? I mean, I'm sure a lot of people heard this interview either on other creators' channels. I pulled it off of Bed Crime Stories, which she pulled it off Dolly Vision, which he pulled it off the original creator that had this interview. And so, when we listen to it, it's just, I think it's surprising to all of us that, one, the creator that was having this interview wasn't refocusing it back on Sebastian or what it was all about, this meaningless garbage. It had no meaning. I want to play.
But I use sparkling water sometimes, and he would, every once in a while, he would grab my drink and drink it because he was being funny, and he's like, oh, I drink your water. Well, every once in a while, he'd grab it, and it would have carbonated water in it, and he'd take one sip and be like,
I have a funny feeling she did that intentionally. I don't know why.
I'm like, that's why you don't drink people's drinks without asking.
See?
Am I the only one who thinks that this conversation is ludicrous?
Yes, it's ludicrous.
And you now have a platform on which you may speak about that, and you're wasting it on carbonated beverages? Red flag, red flag, red flag. So this
flag on the play. Flag on the play, right? That doesn't make any sense. And how is she, I have never seen a woman be able to laugh and joke. We just watched Dylan Redwine last night before we called it an evening. And we went through some of the stuff. And even years later, like her son was unalived in 2012. She's talking about this. I think they did this thing in 2023 or maybe even earlier this year in 2024. And the lady is still breaking down and crying over her child 12 years later. And Katie is just da-da-da-da-da, ha 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 ha. We played this prank on my son one time with a carbonated beverage.
Conversation took place last night. And are you getting the feeling once again that Katie prefers to tell negative things about Sebastian instead of positive things about him? And no,
from out the gate, Katie talked about his diaper in the Chronicles of Olivia interview about how he had chocolate milk. They're always talking about how he's always encroaching in personal space and that's why he doesn't have friends and all this and that. I think Katie has managed to muster out that he likes to run and talked about this competition, and Chris was able to muster out he's good at chess. Those are the only compliments I've ever heard Katie or Chris ever say about Sebastian. Everything else has been so over and hypercritical of him, even when they're on these interviews. And they have a missing son. It's like this disdain for their child. It's like, I don't know how to express it into words, or it just is odd. It just is odd. It's like every stab she gets an opportunity to make at Sebastian about how imperfect her son is, she does. I don't know. I'll let you decide.
The past tense throughout this whole section of the conversation.
I'm trying to roll through and see. Chat was asking some pretty good questions.
Let's see if I can pull this down.
Henry, do you like Pop Rocks?
No, he does not like Pop Rocks.
The feeling of that, you know? I mean,
He's weird. Like, when he first got glasses, it was really difficult to transition and to get, like, accustomed to that. He's been in them for years and years now, so he's used to it. But, like, hats.
So they talk about drinks, hats, glasses, even whether he likes shorts, prefers shorts over pants. This was the gist of this interview. Nothing related to, how did this child go to bed, and, nothing related to were the dogs in the kennel, the crate that night, or in the bed, because Chris said this, because he did say that on this interview. We've been talking about this interview at least for over a day.
He likes hats, but he can't stand wearing them.
okay.
So he tries, but he only manages to wear them for like a few minutes, and then he's like, yeah, I'm done. Get it off me.
Would you prefer, like...
I find it weird that she's laughing. We're only 3 months out. If they're telling the truth, then she doesn't know where he is or if he's even alive.
Right?
To me, her emotions do.
How does this make you feel?
The situation, the nightmare that she is supposedly living right now.
Jeans?
It doesn't. That was a perfect. I couldn't have said it better, right? Her behavior is not matching this hell she's going through. Like, they're talking to the people saying, we're going through pure hell here with my child missing. We're going through all of this with my child missing. This, that, and the other. Yet, when it comes down to it, they're laughing, giggling, and acting like they don't have a care in the world, and using past tense out the wazoo. We would go to this. We did do this. It's all past tense. They're all using it. They didn't even catch themselves. No emotion. Exactly, Mr. Barry. No emotion at all. Something is not right. When do we see Seth going on things and getting sidetracked with conversations like this and laughing and giggling? Every time I see him, he looks like a mess and on a verge of a breakdown. Kind of like what we expect the mom to be like. Right? No emotion. No connection to her child. Did that have something to do with Seth raising their child and her running off to the Navy? Maybe she never had that bond with her son, kind of like a Leilani Simon? I don't know. I really don't.
Or shorts over pants?
He likes shorts over
What?
pants, but once he gets transitioned into pants, so like in the fall once the weather turns.
Who gives a shit?
Short weather, once he gets used to wearing pants, it's not a problem. He wears them every day without a question. But it's the transition, so like when the weather starts getting warm, he can start wearing shorts again, and then that's all he wants to wear.
Can you just explain to us, how the boy walked out the house, how often he uses the front door, where you think he would have run away to if he ran away? What is he like? What have you guys done besides call Loves to see if they'll post flyers in their window? Why won't you show your face? Why won't you put those magnets back on your car to advertise that your child's missing?
In instead of asking about pants versus shorts, maybe a better question would have been, did Sebastian often go outside without his shoes
Great
on?
question.
In your experience, do you agree with your ex-husband Seth that Sebastian was afraid to walk barefoot after getting bit by fire ants?
If that makes sense.
Just the troll said, I'm the same with makeup. I love collecting it, but I hate wearing it. Was that a Newport? I think I just heard a Newport chime in. Okay, it sounded like
That's Dolly Vision.
This was like.
So for him, it's.
This is what years of smoke and abuse will do to you guys. Just put the cigarettes down, put them down. You know what? I get the same thing with money. I love collecting them, but I hate spending it.
Joking.
Agreed.
No, for him, I don't.
Joking like it's another day. Does this enrage anybody besides me? Them sitting on here just joking, laughing, having a great freaking time, not a care in the flippin' world, while they got a medically needy child out in the wilderness and they have no stinking idea where this child is. This to me is it enrages me.
I don't necessarily think he had like a significant preference of pants over shorts, so much as it was whatever he's accustomed to wearing.
Right.
So like
Thank you,
once
Betty
he
Sue.
transitions into pants, he gets used to just throwing.
Did you know, Quitter?
He doesn't try to wear shorts. Vice versa. Like even at night, like so it goes fluid. So like he'll wear.
I left that part with Dolly in there because it was kind of funny, I have to admit.
We try to keep him on a regular routine so that he
I would have left it
functions
in
better.
too.
You know, if you have sporadic bedtimes and everything.
Does this sound like a normal interview of a woman that's missing her child? Would you guys know, if you guys popped into this chat listening to what you're listening to, would you have known that this conversation was about a missing child? With just listening to their voices, how they sound, like if you weren't watching this on your phone, if you were just listening to it. Do they sound like they're parents of a missing child that's been missing for 90 days? The entire interview's like this, yes. This doesn't sound right, does it? It just sounds... These people sound happy. I mean, I don't know how to describe what we're hearing them joking and laughing and enjoying themselves on this channel. They seem like they're the happiest, they're living their best life. I like to collect money, but I get upset with to spend it. Ha ha ha. I'm more angry that their child's missing than they are.
Then he starts having more, difficulty with being on track and on task and everything, or he'll, he doesn't really sleep very well.
Right.
So his sleep routine has never been specific, but it's, it's downtime, it's quiet time, it's, you remove the stimulus, screen time shuts off at the same time every day so that you...
So she said that Sebastian functions better when he's on a routine. And I know a lot of people have wondered if on the Sunday, either the day that he disappeared or the day before he disappeared, they did a lot of activities. They were all over the place. Shopping, bowling, visiting with family, picking up the niece, going to the Texas Roadhouse for dinner. Was that a routine Sunday to go to all those different places? Or did that get Sebastian a little worked up? Was he overstimulated that day? And could that have led to an altercation later that night at the Proudfoot home?
It's possible. It's possible. So she's always saying negative things about her son. You don't really hear a whole lot of positivity. You're hearing all of these past tenses being used. You're hearing them joking and having a good time in this interview. Very, very limited talking about Sebastian or Sebastian's cases. More about his tics, his dislikes, and how they feel about him in general. Obviously she has problems with a lot of the stuff he does. He obviously isn't clean enough for her. He's not perfect enough for her. It seems like every time she has an opportunity, maybe she's so used to it, she doesn't even realize she's doing it. She's just constantly putting him down. She doesn't seem very proud of her son. And she seems very happy he's gone. I don't know how to describe that interview other than she was happy. And so was Chris. Not something that I would have ever thought a child missing, parents would be acting or conducting themselves in the public light in that realm. There's also this right here I wanted to share with you. I'm not going to stay too long because, like I said, I've got church today. And so I wanted to read this to you. Oh, good gracious. You know what? I'm not even sure if I sent this to me. Give me just a second. Hopefully I did. Does not look like I did. So I'll try to get out of the way and just read it to you. So basically it says in the drama channel, Katie and Chris gave very interesting interview. Katie says in the comments, Chris makes, I don't know if we can top him coming home, dear. She doesn't, sorry, I'm having a hard time reading it the way it is. And she does this little giggle. Excuse me? You have stated that you think your son was abducted. And now, in your opinion and in your husband's, there may be other things that will top your son coming home alive. What would top your son coming home alive? A new motorcycle, a book deal, buying a new house, getting custody of Chris's daughter, finishing your college program, the life insurance policy? I'm just very curious as what might top Sebastian coming home alive, feeling sad. So a lot of people have a lot to say about this whole event surrounding Sebastian's disappearance. We've had a lot to say related to the information surrounding Sebastian's disappearance. We're fact-finding the crap out of it, and it just doesn't appear with all of his disabilities he would be able to walk out the door on his own in the middle of the night with absolutely nothing, not even shoes, not snacks, not his favorite video game, nothing. It doesn't make sense, and I don't think he'd be willing to do it. It sounds to me like this would be something that would trigger him to have a breakdown, literally as he's doing it. So now we have the parents. The parents have been out and about. They're starting to let their guard down. They're starting to allow their real colors to shine through because, let's face it, we see this happen all the time. Parents can only keep up a facade for so long. And over time, they stay away from, the channels that they think don't like them, and they start going to other channels where they put in a more relaxed state of mind. And so they make these slip-ups on those channels, and we're catching them in a lot of slip-ups, predominantly in this one ridiculous interview. Right? They basically solidified Sebastian wouldn't walk out the door willingly because he's got grass allergies. He's got all these different tics about him that would have prevented him from walking out. We found that out on this interview. We found out that, the allergies, we found out that he does have sensory issues, and he hates carbonated beverages, and he hates sauce. And it appears that his parents are happy that he's gone. That's what came out of that interview. In a nutshell. Oh my God, what did it say? No evidence of foul play, the perfect alleged crime. Yeah, there's no evidence of foul play. There's no evidence but there's no evidence this child willingly walked out of the door. If you're gonna say there's no evidence of foul play, we have to also say there's no evidence that this child walked out the door. Because there are none. The parents didn't see it, they're just saying it. Because they have no other thing to say. What are they gonna say? The house was completely locked and our child literally vanished into thin air while sleeping in bed? Nobody would believe that. So they have to imply he left the house willingly. How would he leave the house willingly if all the windows and doors are locked? Oh, there's only one door that has a code on it. Only one door. He had to have gone out of that one. We know what happened. Chris and Nina's court hearing. Do we know what happened? No, I don't know what happened. I haven't heard. And it's not a it's not public. I don't know how much information we would have gotten out of it because it's a family court hearing, and a lot of the family court stuff is confidential. So there is that. All right, guys. Well, that's really all I have. But we'll be back after church to dive more into these, this interview a little more, see what else we can pull out of it and apply it to our stuff. But I mean, I don't really believe anything Chris and Katie are saying at this point. They're not acting like grieving parents. They're acting happy. They're, that you can tell that they look down. I think at this point it's been well established that it appears that Katie and Chris look down upon Sebastian for something he couldn't help. And we have to look at the fact that we know that Seth raised his son in those younger years. Katie ran off to the Navy, and Seth was there to take care of their disabled son by himself, and he did that. So maybe that nurturing bond, maybe that connection with her son really never developed, and with her own childhood trauma and not really having a good example of what a mom should be like, what a real mom should be like, because her mom was so abusive to her, she may not know what it's like to be a mom. And you remove the fact that she didn't have that initial connection with her son because she ran off to the Navy. There may be that. Katie says, I was watching VU case. The cop said, walk off is number one thing said by person who knows I'm assuming what really happened. Yeah. We have to remember that this law enforcement, I like law enforcement, but if law enforcement really hasn't done fingerprints or forensics in that house, I just can't believe that they're turning over every stone possible to find this boy. Thank you, Betty Sue. Where did you send it? Did you send it on here, or did you send it to my email at bullhornbetty@gmail.com? Because if it's on here, I'll get it when I'm off. All right, guys. Well, that's really all I have. We don't have a whole lot going on today. Again, I've got church. I'm keeping my ear to the ground. I do have some emails that I'm going through right now. They have some good information in them. Maybe something that we can at least explore a little bit. So you guys have a wonderful Sunday. God bless you. If you guys would like, I'm going to Countryside Christian Church. If you need the link, it's on my Twitter page as well as my YouTube page in the post section, the community section of my YouTube channel. And you guys can get the link for church if you'd like to come and worship with us. Anyways, God bless you guys. We'll see you soon.